All right, welcome to the Unforced Errors podcast. I'm Frank. This is Carl.
I am Carl.
This is our first run at this, so bear with us as we work our way through podcasting. But Carl, you want to give a rundown on what the purpose of this is and where we fit in the space?
Yeah, so basically this is a mediocre podcast for mediocre players, like us.
That's us.
In all honesty, we've become obsessed with pickleball in the last year and a half. We consume a lot of content. We recently actively buy a lot of paddles, and we were kind of looking at podcasts, paddle reviews, tutorials, noticing there's a little bit of a space for players that are more our level or beginner, to that 3-5 level maybe. So we wanted to kind of make a podcast, and we're going to do tutorials, reviews, all of these things to give you an idea of how certain paddles react to us, because a lot of these guys reviewing these paddles are pretty good. And the paddles definitely react different in my hand. I know that from experience. So we wanted to create something that was dedicated to you guys. Maybe you guys are having the same issues we're having, and hopefully we can kind of grow together through this.
Yeah, I think most of these people that have podcasts now are 4-0, 4-5, 5-0. Like, I'd love to be playing with Agassi, but he would have booed us off the court. So we're not there. We can kind of give you the rundown of what we think of the paddles, how they play at our level. And then we're going to also go through, we'll talk about paddles we've used. We're going to give our impressions on the J2k Plus and the Supercourt, and discuss our recent lesson, which was quite eye-opening.
Oh, yes.
Spoiler alert, we stink. So, yeah, I think that's where we're going to start. Current level, I'm a 3-3 to give some context, and you are?
I'm a 3-2.
Yes, which is laughable because you're definitely better than me, but we don't have a lot of accuracy on the rating. We've played one tournament.
Yeah.
I've played one other tournament without you, and then we've played together as like with our group.
Yeah.
Which is all around 3-3 to 3-5, 3-6, 3-7, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So it's hard, the accuracy rating right now is like 41 for me. So and yours is probably similar. So we're not getting an actual reading, but in reality, I think I played to a 3-3 more times than a 3-5.
Yeah, my consistency keeps me low for sure. I am not consistent, and that's kind of what I'm building right now. And we actually recently took a lesson, like Frank said, and that really opened my eyes to understanding why I'm not consistent, which we can get into that too. And if you guys, we actually talked to the guy that was coaching us, and he's open to doing some tutorials and even filming our lessons. So maybe you'll see a lot of what we do wrong might happen in your own game, and you can learn with us. So if you're interested in that, let us know.
I think let's talk about paddles we've used, what we're maining right now, and then we can give impressions after on what we thought of J2k Plus and Supercourt.
Right. Well, you know what? First episode, I'm gonna bring out a hot take here and say that for me personally, and the people that I have suggested this to, I think the Vatic Prism, is it the Prism?
Prism Flash,
yes.
The purple one.
These names are crazy, but
Vatic's doing a better job now with the naming. Initially, it was a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, the Vatic Prism Flash. I think if you're someone who's going from that first paddle or that Amazon paddle, and you want something that's legit, and these are legit, the Vatic Prism Flash is the best one to start with. I think it's overall just such a good paddle in every aspect. It gives you a little taste of everything, and you still play amazing with it.
It's still the paddle I play the best with. It's just, is it the most fun paddle when everybody's using power paddles? No, which is what has led us to increasing the paddles on the wall here. But I play the best with it. It's not close. I should be playing with a control paddle. I think that's also part of this, is like, don't get caught up in the power paddle thing.
Yes.
We're saying that, and we have, some considered, these aren't like mods, but they're all court leaning power paddles. So I think that's important to consider is like when you're just starting, everybody wants, oh, what's the most powerful? But in reality, until you're playing at a 4.0 level, you probably do not need any type of all court or leaning power at all.
Like, yeah, you want to start out with control because that's what's going to build your confidence, and that's why I think that Prism Flash is good because you do have decent control with it. But we recently wanted to get into power paddles because that's where the game's going, really. And I can tell you from my experience that it's a big jump from a control paddle to a power paddle, and my game has suffered. But I'm learning, and I'm getting into it. My main paddle right now is the Honolulu J2k, which is a really good paddle for control.
I think it reminds me a lot of the Vatic. It just has a better dwell time. It's a little bit more gritty.
Yes.
The spin is better.
The spin is insane.
It's still not a super long handle, and I previously to this lesson was always one-handed backhanding, even when I played a little bit of tennis, and don't think I have a tennis background, but like messing around playing some tennis always was a one-handed backhand. So it's a little shorter, but it still works for your Tui.
Yeah, I've got really used to it. I tried the Holbrook Aero Metallic T, which has a longer handle, which that paddle is insane for spin and forehands. And we can talk about that on a more of a deep dive episode. But then going back to the TI, I really realized that I do really like this handle and the shorter handle, even for two-hand backhands, which our coach Keith has showed us that it's possible.
Yeah, we can do it. Turns out. Well, yours was there. It just needs some tweaks.
It needs a lot of tweaks.
I do not have one. I showed up without that.
Yeah, it might have been better though to start from scratch and not have these bad habits.
It's easier to dink. Like dinking with the two hand is okay. I can do that. Yeah. Driving, sometimes I hit these amazing shots and sometimes it just goes right into the net. But we're working through that. But I think to your point, where I like two-handed or not, that we had the Paddle Tech, the TKO CX 14.3, which is absolutely a power paddle. Sweet spot was a little too small especially for us. When you hit it, that thing was a rocket.
Oh yeah,
and it was an enjoyable paddle to use. But the TKO, the CX is the longer handle, 5.75. It was like insane. It was like swinging a samurai. Like
it's something to get used to. And there's people that love the long handle, and I really liked it for forehands, but I just could not. It just didn't feel comfortable enough, and maybe I didn't give it enough time. Like I said, we're at a lower level, so little tiny adjustments make a big difference for us. So Frank, you've been using the Vatic Pro Saga, right?
I have. So I wanted a little bit more power, but I want to keep that drop ability because my drop has always been great with Vatic paddles. Softer control paddle. So the Saga is exactly what people say. It gives you more power than their previous line, and it still gives you that softer feeling, and you can still get a good feel on it. It didn't really change my drop game at all, but my drives and my serves, immediately I felt an increase in that.
Yeah.
So I really like that because the hardest part of this for me was dropping. And when you start playing with these bangers and these people with power paddles, the way to combat that essentially is to drop and make them dink. And you watch some of their game fall apart sometimes, especially at our lower levels. A 3.5 or lower. These guys that came from tennis or these girls that came from tennis, and their drive, they can rip the ball.
Yeah.
There's we play with Brett. Brett's the same way. He can rip the ball. Yeah. But some of these people can't dink, so that's where the game kind of falls apart for them. So you try to target that, and without being able to drop, it's kind of takes away, and now you're in a firefight with people you don't want to be in a firefight with. So I think
that was a good step though, from the Prism Flash that you had to the Saga, the Vatic Saga. I think that would be a good step for someone that maybe wanted to introduce a little more power to their game. And that paddle is honestly comparable to the paddle you've been trying out, which is the Chorus Supercourt HX, which is their hybrid shape.
Their hybrid, yeah. So you have the EX is the elongated, the SX is their standard shape, and we've both enjoyed this paddle.
I love it.
I cannot drop nearly the same that I can with the Saga, which has the only thing that's kept me away from it, but it is so fun to play with. My serves and drives are even a little stronger with that than they are with the Saga. It's on par. It's a stiffer feeling paddle.
I would say it has more pop for sure.
Definitely.
The power is similar, but I still think because of the pop, the Supercourt, just if that's what you want, that fast reaction and all that, the Chorus performs really well.
At the net, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, like hand battles, you don't have to put a lot of effort into it. It kind of comes off that paddle quickly. So, yeah, we've both been enjoying playing with that. This is I don't remember what the color wave is, but they have a Tronic one that's like a teal and black. When I messaged Chorus, Matt responded immediately, said at least 6 weeks. I didn't want to wait that long.
Oh, yeah, well, there's the HX is actually sold out right now because I wanted to get one.
Right.
I love this paddle.
So that's where we're at with that. I have restyled this paddle to my liking, but we are now pretty prone to Bodie grips as well. Carl has turned me on to the Bodie.
Once I went Bodie, I couldn't go back.
This is a Yonex dry grap, which is what I've used pretty much on everything until the Bodie. The Bodie has a little bit more squishy of a feel. Some people won't like that.
It's a little more sticky in your hand, I feel like, but I like that because down here in the South it gets pretty hot, and these things get a good feel.
Right. Yeah. We are based in Charleston, South Carolina, so the heat is going to start creeping in here soon, and we've already had some days that we're knocking on the door of 80. So sweaty hand gang here. I need something that's going to stick in my hand. So far the Bodie has been the answer. Even on some of the warmer days that we've had recently, trying it out, it's been great. So, but yeah, other than that, I just have the wrap around the edge guard there, and it's such a light paddle, but I feel like adding the grip and the edge guard actually it levels it out like perfectly.
Yeah, well, it runs right here on their website. It says the weight is 7.9 ounces, and they have plus or minus 0.2 ounces. So it's kind of sits right in that average weight where you can still modify it and kind of get what you want out of it. But honestly, I played with it just how it is, and I think it was really balanced for me personally in my game.
Yeah.
Obviously, my soft game needs work with any paddle. So I think that with time, your soft game would still really develop with it.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with it. I do kind of go back and forth. If I had to play a tournament tomorrow, I'd definitely play with the Saga just because it feels much more like home. Yeah. But it's just something about that is just so fun to play with.
It is. It's a great paddle. The one that I've been using recently that I just have been testing out is the J2k Plus, which is the new Gen 3 from Honolulu Pickleball Company. And I, like I said, my normal paddle, my go-to is the J2 Ti. And they do have a J2 Ti Plus, but I decided to go with the J2k Plus just because I think it has a little more power. I haven't played with Kevlar paddles yet, except for this one. And I will say that there is a difference as far as like feel.
Definitely.
But I have this thing kind of where it's breaking in and it's starting to feel a lot more comfortable for me. It is definitely more powerful, more poppy. Still has good dwell time. It takes a second to get used to if you're jumping into power paddles. But I've really enjoyed it. The grit is crazy. The spin is really good. I think Matt's Pickleball had the spin RPMs at 2120, so really good spin, top tier spin.
All these paddles nowadays, the spin is it's insane.
Yeah, I think that like I said, it is Gen 3, and you can definitely tell that it takes a little bit of getting used to coming from the paddle I came from and at our level. But I really, really have enjoyed it. Started to enjoy it. At first, I was skeptical, and especially when Frank handed me the Supercourt, and I fell in love. But I'm enjoying this paddle right now, and I think it's a great option. Honolulu Pickleball is a really good company.
Yeah, and we'll keep going through with these, and we can give you a longer term review once we have more hours on them. I think we probably only have a few hours on these at this point, and with the J2k Plus having a break-in period, I think that it's going to still change a little bit more.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this is just kind of an overview of what we're playing with currently, but we're going to do more in-depth reviews with these specific paddles to kind of give you a closer look at them. And but honestly, Chorus is a brand I never really looked into or really knew about until you brought up the Supercourt. And I really like it. I know we played with a guy who used the Chorus Fire, which I believe is either getting banned or sunsetted. But that thing had some power.
Yeah, the Chorus Fire had a crazy sound to it. I don't know if that's the only one we've played against.
It did have a weird sound.
It was like a thok sound. Like it was like it was just like so bizarre. And I was aware of Chorus before that, and I'd seen their Shapeshifter and some of their other stuff, and I even considered the Fire. But then when I was like back and forth on reviews, I'm like, let me try the Supercourt.
I'm glad you went with that one.
And now I'm very glad because USAP did release a statement on February 18th that they are going to sunset the Fire HX. So I'm not sure if this applies to all of them or if this is a certain batch of the HX that did not meet the requirements. So they're going to be done with that. But their customer service is awesome, so they're going to take care of their people on that. And then Chorus also has the Echo coming out, which is their control paddle, which I'm also very interested in, because if this is a little too poppy for a lot of people, including myself, then maybe their control paddle. I love the shape of it, and the handle length is good for me, especially if I'm morphing into a 2E. Then that 5.6 handle really works well for that.
Well, speaking of the 2E, let's talk about our lesson really quick that we just had.
Yeah, the lesson. Whew, it's an eye-opener.
So I thought my game was better than what it ended up being. And that was eye-opening because I realized that I felt like I was plateauing. I realized that it's because I was doing most of the things wrong. I was kind of doing what was comfortable, which is fine. But if you really want to get over that level, you got to do it the right way. And there was a lot of things that I was not doing the right way. And then when you would do it the right way, you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think if you are semi-even athletic or even at 3.5 and under, you can do whatever you kind of like, whatever feels right.
Yeah.
And you see these swings from, again, like tennis players, big wind-ups. It works. It works at that level. But if you go to a higher level, you're going to get exposed.
Oh, yeah.
Because 4.5s and above, they're going to be able to have those shorter strokes. You don't know if that speed up's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Their drive looks like their drop. It's all the same motion. It's just how much they're putting into it.
Exactly.
And so that was, at our level is like, we could get by with it, but now we can't get over the hump. And I wonder why. Well, now we know why, because everything we did was wrong, it turns out.
Yeah. And so we're going to continue those lessons just because it was kind of a trial for us to see like, what we were doing or how we could grow. And then we realized, wow, we need these lessons. And I would say for me personally, and I was the same way with disc golf, I just wanted to get out and play because that's the fun part of it. When really you should be drilling. If you're serious about it and you want to get to a decent level, drilling is the way to go. And I realize that now. And I think after this lesson, I kind of understand that I need to develop this muscle memory for these good habits.
Right.
And after you do that, and there might be some time where you're kind of feeling a little defeated, like I was last night when I took what I learned from the lesson to the court and may have played the worst pickleball of my life.
I think it's really hard to transition to, and we knew this, but we just can't stop playing, and this is our problem. And it's like trying to take all that you just ingested from this lesson of basically changing the mechanics of everything we've done.
Yeah.
And then go to play somewhere at a public park. It's like immediate muscle memory.
Yeah.
And you're back to doing that stuff. Or you're trying so hard to think about what to do right that you're messing everything up.
Yes.
And so I had the same experience. I played for 3 hours right after our lesson, and I felt the exact same way. I was awful, like worse than usual. Like it was insane. So I feel like what we need to do is just drill. we have the ball machine. We need to just go out there and swing because.
Yeah. What's the ball machine you have?
So I have the slinger ball machine.
Okay.
So, and we'll discuss that maybe on another episode.
Yeah, we could do a review of that because it's a really, if you want to make the investment in that, it's a really good ball machine, especially to drill with and to really pick up your game if you're just want to go out to the court by yourself.
I think right now it's going to be instrumental when, if you're not available or I'm not available, we can use the machine in the meantime, because right now it's just ground strokes. Now we're back to 101. It's that we were able to rip the ball okay and it was fine, but the way we're hitting it ended out with a lot of out balls or a lot of net balls. Yeah. So we could drop, but then, as Keith was like, here's what you don't want to do when you drop, is exactly what I was doing. And I could drop the ball all over the court and it was great. But the problem is I'm coming almost between my legs, hitting it in such a loop that it's popping up, and any good player is going to flick it and it's going to be gone. So that was not the correct way to drop. Yeah. And so we're working on having a similar drop to drive as far as the mechanics of it.
Yeah, and the mechanics are really what the lesson was about, and that's a good place to start. And we'll take you guys along with us. Like I said, we talked to Keith, and he's cool with letting us film it, and maybe we can kind of look back at our game. I'm sure you guys are having the exact same problems, or if you're a coach, maybe you'll see. Don't let it discourage you, but maybe you'll see, some things that you could kind of pick out and help the people you're giving a lesson to, because I promise you we are having all of the issues.
Yeah, and I think just us recording it and watching, just even if we didn't have audio, just to watch our swings, we're gonna look and be like, what are we doing? I have this terrible habit of trying to run and hit as I'm running and not split stepping and stopping and resetting. We're not bending our knees.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of a chicken wing thing, or trying to roll our wrist a little too much. And
it's such a importance on shot placement. Everybody thinks it's all about power, and it's like he was showing us that he could absolutely beat you without moving, but he's got you moving all over the place. And this was all through a dinking game. And it's crazy to see that. It's like, why am I doing all of these things? Now that he's pointing it out, it brings it to light.
Exactly. So, we are on the road to 4-0. We're going to take you guys with us, and hopefully we get better. Hopefully you guys enjoy what we put out. Hopefully you learn from it. Let us know what you guys want. We are kind of open-ended right now. We're just diving into this thing. Let us know if there's a paddle you want us to cover at our level, or a ball. I know Frank's recently got into the shoe game here.
Yeah, we're gonna cover a lot of aspects. It won't just be paddles. We'll do the machine. We'll do some shoes, pickleball bags, because that's a whole nother discussion of different bags. And then, we might experiment in discussing some of the pro scene as well. And,
for sure.
And kind of go from there. And as we build this, we'll probably have some guests. But right now, we're just trying to get through it and figure this thing out. So, but yeah, like Carl said, if there's anything that you see from the podcast that you're like, oh, I would like to know this. If it's something that we feel confident enough to discuss, or even if we don't, we can tell you, and we can go from there. But please comment and let us know.
Yeah, or if this was too wordy, or you don't like my hat, let me know.
It's definitely going to be the hat.
I know I say a lot, but like I said, we're getting into this. We're excited. We're excited to bring you guys along with us, and we hope it works out, and eventually we're going to be good at pickleball.
Road to 4.0, road to 3.4. We don't know. I mean, we're going somewhere. Could be forward, could be backwards, but it should be an interesting journey to watch. If you like pickleball and you're at a higher level or you're at a lower level, hopefully you'll get something out of this, if it's nothing more than us just being goofballs about pickleball.
Yeah.
I hope that covers everything. I think we've hit all the topics we wanted to for this episode. Mm-hmm. And anything else, Carl, before we wrap it up?
No, get out and play some pickleball.
go out and do some drilling. I'm telling you that. And don't forget to bend your knees.
Bend your knees, yes.
There's a lot of things here.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt and make the people across from me wear it. So I remember.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into the first episode. There will be more to this. You're not done seeing us, unfortunately for you. But if you liked it or you are interested in this type of content, please like and subscribe. And we will see you on the next episode of Unforced Errors.
See you later.
See ya.